Which city is a better place to live in? Seattle or Bellevue? Let's find out. Hi, my name is Gus Montgomery. In today's video, we are going to compare Seattle versus Bellevue to decide which is a better city to live in. We're going to summarize different characteristics about the city of Seattle and Bellevue to help you decide which city is a better fit for you. All right, so Seattle and Bellevue are about a 20-minute drive from one another without traffic. The population in Seattle is about 734,000 versus Bellevue, which is 150,000. And when you're looking at the distance between Seattle and Bellevue and their proximity to the SeaTac airport, they're both within a half a mile drive without traffic from SeaTac airport. But within regard to the airport, one advantage that Seattle has versus Bellevue is the light rail system. The light rail stops in various neighborhoods in Seattle. It can take you to the airport in less than 50 minutes for less than $4. As of right now, Bellevue doesn't have a light rail system that takes you to the airport, so Seattle does have that advantage. But there is another airport in the area called Payne Field Airport, which is very convenient for flights to Alaska, Arizona, Nevada, and California. And both of those cities, Seattle and Bellevue, are within a 30-minute drive to the Payne Field Airport. So as far as those who like to travel from state to state, from country to country, Seattle and Bellevue are pretty similar in those regards. All right, so let's talk about the neighborhoods in Bellevue and Seattle, starting with Bellevue. So some neighborhoods in Bellevue, you got the Brattle Trails, you got Newport, you got Eastgate, and you got Factoria, just to name a few. When you compare it to Seattle, the vibes of the neighborhoods in Bellevue are pretty similar to one another. Now, we're going to talk about the vibes of each city more so later in the video. But then you look at Seattle and you have a lot more neighborhoods. Granted, it's a bigger city. So you have neighborhoods like Beacon Hill, Soto, Central District, Capitol Hill, Green Lake, West Seattle, Ballard. And those neighborhoods all have a different characteristic and vibe from each other. The vibe in Ballard is a lot different than the vibes in Capitol Hill. The vibes in West Seattle are a little bit different than the vibes in Green Lake. Not no better or worse, it's just that they're different. So if you're looking for a specific vibe in the neighborhood that you live in, Seattle definitely gives you more options in that regard. All right, let's talk about things to do. So in Bellevue, you do have, some arts and some fairs that the city does have, but Seattle has just so much more events and activities. In Seattle, you have festivals, you have musical concerts. So you have the big names that go to Climate Pledge Arena to perform, but you also have smaller concert venues like Showbox, like the Neptune that you can see a lot of musical artists perform at. And you also have a lot of comedic performances in Seattle in places like the Moore Theater and Paramount and plays and musicals. And there's so many more options in Seattle that Bellevue does not offer. Bellevue has something that Seattle does not offer, and that is Snowflake Lane, which is a winter holiday parade in the month of December. But we compare the two cities, Bellevue will have some events, but it doesn't come anywhere close to the number of events that Seattle has. I haven't mentioned the sports teams that all play in the city of Seattle, from the Seattle Mariners, the Seattle Seahawks, the Sounders, Kraken, the University of Washington, athletics as well. When the Seattle Sonics NBA team comes back, all happens in Seattle. Granted, if you live in Bellevue, you can still go to Seattle for all these events, but we're comparing things to do in the actual city that you live in. Seattle has way more options. So let's talk about the outdoors. Bellevue has places like Botanical Garden, downtown Bellevue Park, and Mendenbauer Park. Seattle has more options because it is a bigger city. You got places like Green Lake, Gasworks, Alki Beach, Golden Gardens, just to name a few. So again, Seattle being a bigger city has more outdoor options, but Bellevue does have an advantage in the outdoors that Seattle does not, and that is its close proximity to hiking, skiing, and snowboarding. A lot of the popular hikes in the Washington State area are along Tiger and Cougar Mountain, which Bellevue is in closer proximity to. And if you're a big fan of skiing and snowboarding, you can go skiing and snowboarding at Snoqualmie Pass, which is closer to Bellevue than Seattle. So if you're an outdoor enthusiast, Bellevue might be a better option because you are a closer drive to those things. All right, let's talk about the median home prices in Seattle and Bellevue. Starting with Seattle. For a single family home, the median home price is $875,000. The condo median prices are $535,000. Now, if we look at Bellevue, the median home price for a single family home is $1.7 million. For condos, is $641,000. So as you can see, Bellevue is, for lack of a better term, way more expensive than living in Seattle. Every major city has their own set of challenges. I'm just going to focus on one for each, starting with Bellevue, and that is the lack of affordable housing. So I just mentioned the median home prices of Bellevue, and it's no shocker that affordable housing is a huge issue in the city. The biggest thing is a lot of people that work in Bellevue are not able to afford living in Bellevue. Now, I know that's happening in a bunch of different cities around the world, but Bellevue is no exception. For the challenge in Seattle, the main thing is the homelessness. If you meet people from out of the town, out of state, out of the country that visit Seattle, that's one of the first things that they notice, unfortunately. And it's really unfortunate that there's people out there that do not have adequate housing, especially in the rainy, wet conditions of Seattle. There's been a lot of discussion amongst residents and people in the city offices about provide remedies for these challenges, but unfortunately has not been solved up to this point yet. Bellevue doesn't really have those same type of issues in their city, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. But that is it for today's video on Seattle versus Bellevue. Which one is a better city? Hopefully you found some value in this content. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll continue to provide more value going forward. Until next time, take care.